guys, welcome back to Godzillathon, and I am so sorry about last week that I was supposed to post it, but there's one problem. It's because that work sucks. Work is it's just hard for me, actually. I wanted to finish so badly, but the thing is that work is just striking me out so badly. I just couldn't stand working that much. It was pretty much, like, hard. And which goes the same with class. I mean, well, thank God this week is just spring break for work, so there could be a chance I promise I will post 3 or 4 episodes of Godzillathon, like maybe 4. So, but the 3 for spring break, definitely, like the next 3 episodes after this one, I will post 3 episodes, like, I promise. So, I mean, that's good enough for me. And then probably the 2 episodes. So if 3 does not work, then episodes 32 and 33 will be posted on April. So, like, both of those at the same time. And then episode 34, the last episode, will be posted somewhere around May. That'll be the finale of Godzillathon, which is, of course, the recent one, before I see King of the Monsters. That's the point what I'm trying to deal with. And like, it's just hard for me. I wanted to post this like day after day and stuff like that, but the problem is I work so hard, and it's just hard for me. I don't know. But anyways, with that being said, we are now on episode 28 of Godzillathon, and that is the recent sequel. That was basically the sequel to the previous film, Godzilla Tokyo S.O.S, or as you see in the title of my poster I created years ago, Godzilla, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla Tokyo S.O.S. Okay, I love this movie, okay? I love it. I don't find it as generally awesome as Godzilla against Mechagodzilla 3. Like, never. Never, ever. I don't find it as good as Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. But I do find this more entertaining and much more genuinely great than Godzilla 2000. I do find it more awesome than Godzilla 2000, especially, like, the effects, the color scheming and everything. I mean, that's all I could tell you about it. So, I heard a lot of people compare this movie to GMK, which I completely don't I understand why, first of all. I mean, we got Godzilla and Mothra, but instead of King Ghidorah, we have Mechagodzilla, and instead of Baragon, it was Kameobas, who originally was gonna have that role of Kameobas was supposed to have Anguirus. What I heard from Godzilla Gamer 2012's review, that it was supposed to be Anguirus, but he got replaced by Kameobas. I guess that kind of makes sense for him, since Anguirus is Godzilla's buddy. I mean, why would he do that? But, I do want to say Mechagodzilla being for that role compared to GMK was much better than how King Ghidorah was. I mean, King Ghidorah does not make any sense. It should have been Baron. Mechagodzilla, on the other hand, makes even more sensible. Even though I love GMK more than this one, I do think that Mechagodzilla's role as the third powered-eyes monster for Godzilla and Mothra was way better than King Ghidorah. Because King Ghidorah, I mean, he is much more powerful and Godzilla's arch rival. I don't think King Ghidorah fit that role for being a good guy while Godzilla's evil. So, I think Mechagodzilla wins the round, which I forgot to mention to tell you in the previous installment for Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, that I stated, like, the original was a Terminator, and the second is a walking tank. This Mechagodzilla is Darth Vader. I didn't mention that in the previous review, that this version of Mechagodzilla is like Darth Vader, which I'll get to that moment soon, okay? I'll talk about it in a moment. So, like I said, not as good as Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, but it's pretty entertaining. But with that being said, let's get to this. So, the movie opens up with, like, the rebuilding of Mechagodzilla, like, in a damaged type, and they're still trying to build him up for it, like, trying to rebuild him after the previous, like, film at the end. So, and Godzilla was awakening, which is basically, like, it kind of reminds me of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, like, at the end, where Godzilla opens his eye underwater really cool. It also happens in Super Godzilla. Like, there was no coincidence to that. The military escorts searching of an unidentified, like, object flying in the sky. Two jets of Tokyo sent out to find out what is going on. What's the object right there flying in the sky? One of the pilots here singing, and as it turns out, it was Mothra. So the satellite image gives the full, like, high digital image of Mothra's wing, and then we cut to this awesome logo. Oh man, the intro logo. I find it much more epic than Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, the previous film. I mean, that's pretty good. So, oh, I forgot to mention to tell you, this movie is a sequel to the previous film, and it's not a reboot. Thank fucking God, it's not a reboot. I'm so happy. Millennium just keeps rebooting and stuff like that. I mean, it's really annoying. I know it's really annoying. So after that, we cut to one of our main protagonists. His name is Yoshito Chujo, played by Noboru Kaneko. Yeah, that's his name. He is basically like. So he's basically our new protagonist of the film. That's pretty nice. And we get to, like, him and his nephew had a conversation. I think, like, his nephew is named I don't remember who it was. His nephew. I forgot his nephew's name. Maybe I'll get to it soon. And then there's like, he visited in the house of his grandfather. Shinichi Chujo, played by Hiroshi Kazumi from the original Mothra film. I mean, that's really interesting. So, but anyways, why? Well, first off, we hear like an earthquake or some shit. I don't know what just happened. And when I was a kid, and then they actually said. And he hears like two female voices, like Shinichi hears the voices of female, and as it turns out, what popped up on his table was the Shubijins. Like, his grandson was shocked to see. His grandson was shocked to see these two when he drops a toy plane, but the fairies saved it from falling to the ground and goes up to the kid's hand. So the Shubijins told Shinichi, like, do you remember us back in 1961? And he goes, yeah, I remembered you. So Yoshido arrives stating, like, what is going on and stuff like that. The Shubijins were here stating, like, the humans made a terrible mistake that they touched the bones of the original Godzilla, and they must be returned to the sea. Yoshido denied that, stating, like, why would we ever want to return him? Mechagodzilla is our hero, and he's supposed to stop Godzilla. They stated out, you cannot do that, like, or else Mothra will destroy your city. And Mothra refuses to destroy the city, especially since, like, humans made a mistake. Never touch the bones of the original Godzilla. The souls of the dead must not be touched. That's what they stated. And then they hear Mothra, like, screech, and when they go outside, we see Mothra, like, in the snow, which is a beautiful scene. So, Mothra's design in this movie is really like much like what she's supposed to represent in the Showa, except with long arms and stuff like that. I love this design of Mothra. This is probably my second favorite Mothra design, and the best incarnation, like her characterization. Even though the 1992 Mothra had the best design, I love the cute fluffiness more. This one comes so close to be my favorite, especially the way she looks. It's just awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much I could say about it. So moving on. So then we meet the new crew of Kiryu or Mechagodzilla. I am mad. I feel so upset that there's a new crew, and I know people are gonna bash. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? But the thing is that Akane is the best. She's the best. Well, obviously she had a cameo right there. There's no mentioning of Sarah or her father, but Akane is like there for a cameo. Was received to transport to America for some odd reasons. I don't remember. Like she stated like, oh, like she stated like, I'm glad you're the new crew. You're the new pilot for Mechagodzilla. And Yoshi's like, yeah, I am actually, but I want to take care of him and stuff. So Akane's like, well, good luck with that. But the thing is that he doesn't want to fight. He wants to rest. He deserves to rest or something. So that was her last words, and she's giving her last goodbye to Mechagodzilla, and that was it. By the way, guys, I own the English. I finally got the Blu-ray edition, like I said, with the pack of Godzilla Final Wars. So I didn't mention that, but I got the pack with Godzilla Final Wars and with this movie. I was gonna tell you that they don't really call him Kiryu in this movie. Like, what just happened? What happened with the Kiryu name in the previous film? Like, I've been watching the English dubbing version. I don't know what just happened. So yeah, I mean that's how I could state about this. But with that being said, this is like inquirement of the whole name changing thing, like with Godzilla being called Gigantus, or Mothra being called the Thing, or Ghidorah being called Monster Zero, which I'm certainly fine with. So, I mean, Gigantus and the Thing are too stupid for both Godzilla and Mothra. But anyways, Yoshi is like depressed about seeing Mechagodzilla, like oh, he should be returned. He goes to the Prime Minister and stated like, oh, Mechagodzilla needs to rest. He needs to be destroyed. Project Mechagodzilla needs to stop and stuff like that. So, and the Prime Minister's like, oh, we will. He was like, okay, we will actually do that if only Godzilla will be defeated and Godzilla is destroyed. So, and they're like, ugh, and Yoshi's like, ugh, oh my god, and stuff like that. Then we cut to the beach, which we actually see the corpse or the body of Kameobas. Yes, I say Kameobas because I can't even pronounce the name right, Kameobas or something like that, which first appeared in Space Amoeba. I had a feeling that Kameobas, like this is probably connected to Space Amoeba. I mean, this Kiryu Saga is connected to most of the Showa films. Space Amoeba would have been no exception because Kameobas is in the movie. Space Amoeba was one of those movies I really enjoyed. I know a lot of fans hated this movie. I mean, I understand why people hate this movie because it's such a bland story and had dumb characters. I understand about that. I don't really mind the characters. Like, I don't really mind at all because those characters in Space Amoeba are pretty fine and stuff like that. The monsters is what we all cared about. I mean, now Kameobas is like second most popular monster of the film Space Amoeba, especially like now, but he's still not going to be first place against Ghidorah, which Ghidorah is probably the most popular thing in this movie, and specifically put, he was in Godzilla Monster of Monsters from the NES. That's why everyone, you wanted to go, those of you who never heard of Space Amoeba, I'm sure you're familiar with Ghidorah from Godzilla Monster of Monsters, that squid-looking tentacle guy that smacks you on the right corner of the screen and you're unable to move while it doesn't do damage. I'm sure you're familiar with that because Kameoba was in the same movie with Ghidorah, but separately. You don't even see them together or anything, or Ghidorah being the battle with Kameobas or that other crab monster. I can't remember his name, Ganim or whatever the fuck his name is. So, anyway, so in this movie, Kameoba's corpse was found in the beach, and they were stating like what kind of predator would or anything would kill this thing. They stated like, oh, it was probably Godzilla. I mean, obviously, what other monster would have beat the living shit out of Godzilla. Like, what other monster? No one but him. He's really, I mean, come on. Kameobas is already killed off because of Godzilla. So, yeah. But, moving on. So, Mechagodzilla is still under repair, and they stated, like, they cannot use the Absolute Zero anymore. So, I mean, I understand why they can't do that. I mean, I heard in the behind the scenes, they stated, like, the Absolute Zero was, like, getting it repaired is a lot of money. So they have to give it, like, a new type weapon. Like, a new chest weapon, which is specifically the Macer weapons that replaces the Absolute Zero. I wish they would have used the Absolute Zero again, but that won't work at all. So, anyways, Yoshi was in the hall with one of the captains saying, like, "Hey, listen to me. You think we're gonna trust you to pilot Mechagodzilla?" And he's like, no. You have to, because he's like, you have you think you're a better pilot, but you suck, or something like that. I don't remember. So Yoshi's trying to attack the pilot. I can't remember the other guy. I can't remember his name. It's just I can't. It's hard to think about what names are there or who they are or stuff like that. It's really hard, but that's just me. So the Prime Minister called Yoshi, stating like, so one of them stated like, "Oh, we weren't mad about you because you attacked my son," or something like that. We're actually concerned that you were visited because we heard a word about Mothra being involved of taking down Mechagodzilla and he's like, Mothra didn't do it, so I never knew that, and Mothra didn't visit or something, just to get Mechagodzilla done soon enough. In 2 weeks, Godzilla doesn't take 2 weeks for Mechagodzilla to be finished. So, anyways, so moving forward, going super forward, Godzilla rises up from the ocean with the awesome music. This time much slower type version. Michiro Oshima, like her version is like much slower. So Godzilla vs. Megagears is really off the park. Fuck that film. I mean, much more dramatized than Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, obviously. And so Godzilla enters. Shun, yeah, I finally got the kid's name right. His name is Shun. Is building using a bunch of desks and tape and chairs from his school to build a Mothra symbol. And when his grandfather came by, Shinichi, that's his name, and like he stated like, "What are you doing?" or something like that, and he goes, "I'm building a symbol, trying to make her come." And so yeah, he builds a symbol. He used it to build Mothra's symbol, so Mothra will come. Mothra enters Tokyo to save the day. Oh my! That scene where Mothra flies through the sun, it was just awesome. It looks so beautiful. So Mothra goes up against Godzilla. Mothra roars at Godzilla. Godzilla roars back at Mothra. Mothra spreads her wings and stuff like that. That shot where I think it's where Mothra spread her wings or something, like flapping her wings to cause windstorms. The image right there is probably the most popular scene because, I mean, everyone's familiar with Mothra when it comes to that picture right there. I mean, it looks pretty cool, to be honest. So, Mothra attacks Godzilla. Godzilla tries to fight back. Godzilla couldn't even find Mothra until Mothra grabs Godzilla in the back of his head, trying to drag him down to the ground. Not only reference to the original Mothra vs. Godzilla, but somewhat similar to GMK. I mean, this movie's called GMM. So, yeah, Godzilla, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla. Not GMK, no. GMM, not GMK, no. So Godzilla and Mothra had a pretty cool fight. They stated in the military stating like, "Oh, Mechagodzilla will be on standby, so Mothra's here to protect us." La 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 la. So there we go. I actually did forget to mention that I don't know why I keep forgetting about this, but we do have a female role replacing Akane named Azusa Saragi, played by Miho Yoshioka. That's her name. She's basically had a bigger role. I didn't really talk much about her because I'm trying to keep this up. I'm trying to go fast as I can. But her character is really, really important. Watching over Yoshi as, well, the love interest, if you ask me. Like, try to keep over, like, watching over him. Like, trying to help him out and stuff. That's what she cared about. She cared about him a lot. So, yeah. Anyways, going on with the battle. Godzilla and Mothra had a good fight, and during the night, the Mothra fairies are still singing just for another baby Mothra for an egg. I mean, you should know what's going on. Godzilla bites off one of Mothra's legs, and Mothra basically didn't lose much of her strength. Mothra's using the poison powder. I don't know what is it called again for some odd reasons. It's where Mothra's last stand, meaning like that she's gonna die or something like that. It's much more powerful than how it was in the Showa. Not really as powerful as how she did it in the Heisei, especially since she's young. She's not really dying right there, and there's a bunch of lightning bolts, which is causing even more damage to a monster near there. I mean, that's what it was like. I mean, in the Heisei, it didn't really damage Mothra's life that much. It wasn't really much of her death at all, no. So, but it was much. But here, it's similar how it was in the show as Mothra versus Godzilla. It's just, well, at least it's much, and at least it's not as weak as what it was in the show. I mean, this is much more powerful. Like, usually much more powerful. So Mothra was using that much of it. When Godzilla blasts his atomic breath, which deflected perfectly, it caused a massive explosion, one part of Tokyo. I mean, Godzilla's still there. Mothra's wings are like damaged and burned or something like that. But the only difference is that Mothra doesn't give a fuck. I mean, it's similar to King Kong Lives, where King Kong gets shot too much of it and he's still bleeding and dying, yet he doesn't give a fuck. He just keeps on going and stuff like that. This is what Mothra's doing right here, except she's a protector usually. So, anyways, they decide to send Mechagodzilla back to help out Mothra to stop Godzilla with new weapons. Some kind of weapons that replaces the purple-ized cannons usually, and this time it's gray and it's missilized, and the Absolute Zero, like I said, is replaced by the macer type thing from his chest, I don't know, and his loosened arm is replaced too, which I never even get to mention at all. When Kiryu fell into the ocean, he lost some of his parts, like most likely his right arm, you know what I'm talking about. His right arm was loose, and so were the bones. Like, they're all gone. Those bones are gone. So it's replaced with something else, like a new arm without the bones. Yeah, the bones are gone. It's the only thing. So the rest of the body is still there. The bones from the right arm are gone. Okay. So, anyways, they send him out somewhere to fight Godzilla. Yoshi drives to save his family, which he finally did, and Mechagodzilla and Godzilla were fighting very awesome. Like, Mechagodzilla attacks a little bit more, sending a bunch of cannons on his shoulders. Now they're missile or rocket launchers to fight Godzilla. So nobody's piloting Mechagodzilla, just Azusa in a plane, like usually. Or the other guy, I can't remember his name. I think it's I can't remember, Kaizuka or something. Fuck it. He's piloting Mechagodzilla inside of a plane. No one's inside of Mechagodzilla's head yet, like what Akane did. So, but Azusa is the jet pilot trying to have the other guy, I can't remember his name, to pilot Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla sends a bunch of rockets, stuff like that, losing a bunch of arm cannons, going back to where he was and last time we saw in the previous film before Absolute Zero explosion. Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fight. too much. And Mechagodzilla blasts his atomic breath on Mechagodzilla's face, and he lost an eye. Yep, he lost an eye. Very, very nice. Mechagodzilla's really losing it. So Godzilla was gonna kill him like again. I mean, that's all he cares about when he comes back to Tokyo, is that he wants Mechagodzilla. He wants revenge against Mechagodzilla. But then Mothra saves his ass. Like, Godzilla blasts his atomic breath against Mechagodzilla, but it hit Mothra instead. Mothra was completely damaged. Was a little bit damaged. So but then the babies are born. The 2 baby larvas are born from an egg. Yep, they're twins, just like in the original Mothra vs. Godzilla. Baby larva Mothras are born and decide to help out. So they spread out to the ocean to help out against Mothra and Mechagodzilla. Yoshi is headed out to repair Mechagodzilla after saving his family, and when the larvas came by, well, first off, Mechagodzilla gets back up when he attacks. First of all, before Yoshi decides to go back to repair Mechagodzilla, Mechagodzilla gets back up to fight more. Godzilla just beats the crap out of him too much. And then when the baby larvas arrived, one of them big Godzilla's tip of his tail, just like in the original Mothra vs. Godzilla. Very funny, except he's damaging it more. Well, except she's damaging it more. So both baby twin girls go up to their mother, and when Mothra is glad to see her babies, Godzilla Godzilla is ready to kill these 3, but instead Mothra saves her babies and dies at the very end, and dies right there. Mothra died in disintegration and turned, like, her soul went into the sky. Like, I don't know what it was, forget it. The babies, Mothra larvas, both their eyes start glowing red, meaning they're pissed. Oh man. So they're pissed that Godzilla killed their mother, so Yoshi arrived to repair Mechagodzilla, and Mechagodzilla, like, is ready for action again. This time, Mechagodzilla and Godzilla are fighting more. Mechagodzilla damages a little bit, and his hand turned to a driller, and at the end, he drills into Godzilla's waist. Yeah, you know where the second brain is in Mechagodzilla 2. So, Mechagodzilla here, or Mechagodzilla 3, damaged Godzilla big time, and Godzilla is completely dying. Like, he's really dying, giving a screeched out roar, and Mechagodzilla blasts all his major weapons against Godzilla. And I never get to mention when Godzilla appears. I never mention this. The scar on his chest. I don't know why I never even talked about this, but that scar on his chest, you guys are asking about this, it's so cool. Like, Godzilla comes with a scar chest. That's why he came back to go kill Mechagodzilla, because of what he did to him. So, anyways, Mechagodzilla wins this time. That Godzilla is actually defeated. Plutonium, if you're watching this, that is a fair win! That's a fair win, man! Yeah, like, Godzilla has finally been defeated for good. That is, Mechagodzilla in here is the toughest one compared to every others. Well, I mean, he's not really as tough as Ready Player One's Mechagodzilla, but he's a little bit tougher than Super Mechagodzilla. I don't know if he's in the same level as the Showa, like, as tough as the Showa Mechagodzilla. But anyways, yes, this version of Mechagodzilla did kill him finally. Godzilla was completely weakened. The Mothra larvas, like, damaged him, while Godzilla, well, not damaged him, just webbing all over him. Godzilla gets one last roar before he dies, and Mechagodzilla goes back with his memory of back in 1954 as usual. Not to mention the flashback of Akane shouting and trying to tell him to get back up, and that was pretty much for it. While Yoshi, which I forgot to mention, that he was piling inside of Mechagodzilla the whole time to kill Godzilla. He was piling him, and after that, he was going through the memories of stating like all the things that people told him. Like Akane stated, like Mechagodzilla doesn't really want to fight, and like everyone's stating like he wants to rest in peace and stuff like that. And final memory is the Shubijin stating, the Godzilla bones must return to the sea. So, and then the fairies, or the Shubijins, I'm sorry, shouted to the world that who are hearing this that humankind had made a mistake of touching the souls. They must be returned to the sea. And I'm gonna quote this from, which to my eyes, I'm gonna quote this from Stephen King's Pet Sematary. Sometimes death is better. That's what I'm going to state about this. I mean, obviously, why can't I? So, Mechagodzilla starts roaring in the sun. When the sun rises, Mechagodzilla roars like he's Godzilla, like he's Gojira again from 1954. He grabs Godzilla like from the ground that he's completely dying. Or Godzilla is dead. He grabs the body and decides to take him with him while Yoshi is inside of Mechagodzilla. So Azusa flies off with the plane to save Yoshi. The Prime Minister realized that Mechagodzilla is out of control again, but no, he's heading to the sea where he will rest in peace. That's where he wants to live in. And when Yoshi was ready to die inside, the doors are open finally, and Mechagodzilla like turns over like upside down to have Yoshi get out of there. And the last words he gave on the computer was "Goodbye, Yoshito." And Yoshito was like upset to see Mechagodzilla dying, and that was it. So he falls off, and the person who I mentioned, I can't remember his name, who was inside the plane with Azusa, saved Yoshito, and Mechagodzilla now tumbles into the ocean with Godzilla's body, and that was the death of Mechagodzilla 3. Probably the most emotional Mechagodzilla death to date. Like, the other versions, like, it's like badass, but this one is just emotional. Like usually it is. So yeah, now both Kiryu and Mechagodzilla are dead, sadly. And the Mothra larvas are finally heading back to Infinite Island, and they say like they realized their lessons, that humankind made a mistake, and that was the end of the movie. However, there was an after credits scene that with the whole Project X thing. When I first saw it as a kid, I was freaking out seeing the Oxygen Destroyer, but no, it's not the Oxygen Destroyer. It's actually Project X in the laboratory. And that's the end. That's the end of the movie. So, what do I think of this movie? I liked it. I pretty much liked it much more than Godzilla 2000. Not as good as Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, honestly. I mean, I understand that people like this one. I mean, this is probably one of the best Godzilla movies to be video-directed sequels. This is probably one of the best ones. Like the Heisei continuity, and sometimes with the Showa ones, like Mothra vs. Godzilla and Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I mean, my favorite one is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla. That was the best one I've seen. This one comes so close to be it's already part of my top 3. Wait till King of the Monsters comes out. But anyways, I love this idea. I really love this movie. I love how this is one of the best video direct sequels of all time. Not the best Godzilla movie, but it's probably up there. So the characters are great. I love the characters. So Yoshi and Azusa are pretty great. Shun he's alright. I don't mind kids. Again, stop complaining of kids being in Godzilla movies. That's totally fucked up of you guys. Shinichi, he was great. I mean, he's just amazing. I mean, it's great to see him ever since the first Mothra film, the original Mothra. I have seen the original Mothra movie. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite movies. I will do a Mothra-thon sometime in the future. I just don't know when, but I'm planning to do Mothra-thon soon. But with there's already 4 movies, and that'll be it. And then I will review like some other ones like Godzilla. Well, no, Kongathon or Gamerathon sometime in the future soon. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Maybe, I don't know, but that's gonna be soon. So special effects are pretty good. Music by Michiru Oshima. Great to see her. This is the last movie to compose. Directed by Masaki Tezuka. I think the same director from the previous film. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's talk about the monsters. I don't really need to talk about Kameobas because he's just, forget him. He's just there. It's just a corpse or something. But let's talk about the official ones. Like, let's start with Mothra. Ah, man. This is much better. I love her incarnation much more than GMK. GMK sucked with Mothra, especially with her characterization. She was pointless and she had no character, or no personality. This one really gave her a personality in a better way. Like, thank God they just did that. I love her character in this one. It's just so good. So good. I love that. So, the design is probably the most popular one of all, but it's my second favorite next to the Heisei design. Though, maybe it will be third place because I know, maybe it will be because King of the Monsters design looks awesome. I don't know, but maybe. We'll see that soon. So, yeah. Mothra is pretty great in this movie. I mean, I love that it's a build-up sequel to the original Mothra. Very, very nice. I love that. Mechagodzilla 3, also known as Kiryu, or in this movie, he's not called Kiryu. They never said Kiryu in this movie. He was just called Mecha G most of the times. I don't know. He's Mechagodzilla. I guess Mecha G's short too. But anyways, he's great. I mean, like I said, I considered Kiryu as the Darth Vader Mechagodzilla, meaning he's Darth Vader using the corpse or the bones of the original Godzilla into a machine. That's the same thing with Anakin turned to Darth Vader in the prequel Star Wars. That's how it was, and that's why that's what makes him different compared to the other 2 Mechagodzillas. Whereas the original Mechagodzilla was a Terminator. The second one is more of a walking anti-Godzilla weapon tank. This one is like Darth Vader, but more of a grandfather of this Godzilla or something like that. So, and Ready Player One's version is going back into Terminator. That's really good. I'm sure they're going to use that for the MonsterVerse if they could. And speaking of Godzilla, let's talk about him. That scar looks fucking awesome. I love that. I just can't stop looking at the fucking scar. It looks so cool. Look at that scar. This really makes him badass. It's just so... I can't deal with that. Yes, it's sad Godzilla is dead in this movie. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, this Godzilla's pretty much evil. Well, not as evil as GMK, but he was a total dick in this movie. And that's all I could say about him, but still, his design's pretty cool. I just love it. So, anyways, I really think the movie's so good. Not the best, as I stated before, but it's still up there. So, why introduce the people who are not Godzilla fans? Honestly, I think you should show them Godzilla against Mechagodzilla first before you show them this. That's how I could state this. So, my rating for this movie, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. As the same level with some of the Heisei films and against Mechagodzilla, I don't know. That's how I rate this. So, 7 out of 10. And I'll see you guys sometime like around Monday or something like that. Because obviously it's my spring break. And I'm definitely reviewing 3 or 4 Godzilla films that week. Oh my god, I can't wait for that episode. I don't know. I wanted to create a new intro for that episode, but it seems unlikely since I'm rushing already. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the final episode of not final episode of Godzillathon, but the final episode of the classic Godzilla films that we all remember before today's standard, and not to mention the final episode of the Millennium, like usually. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. This is SB Goji Fan signing off.